What's going on? I'm Anoki the One, and I'm back with another video about my thoughts on what white privilege really is. So I've been talking a lot about different things, how white people became black, how Native Americans became African Americans, and things like that. And I grew up in all white schools, right? So I literally was able to see, like, from 5 years old till graduation, I was literally able to see white kids become privileged. I was able to see them become racist. Not all, of course. And that's what I think with all of this. I think that people really need to understand, and I'm a person who believes that we're all one. And it's really because I have been able to grow up with a diverse background around different people. I grew up clearly in the home with black people. My family's black. And then every time I'm going to school, everybody's white. So I see two different polar opposites, and and then doing my own travel, and also there's a lot of all different racism in Houston, the melting pot, one of the most diverse places in the entire world. So I literally was able to see this happen, and the reason I'm so passionate about talking about history is because literally when history was put into the school, like in elementary, we didn't learn too much about history. In junior high, that is when kids really started to become racist. And that is the same time when we really started to learn about history, right? And we are taught history in such a jacked up way. And I think that white privilege is really being privileged to be on the right or the white side of history, of American history. Basically, it's having the privilege to be taught. Like, imagine being a black woman sitting in an all-white school, or black girl, whatever you want to call it, sitting in an all-white school, and they're teaching slavery. You get to the slavery part, but all before that, they're teaching white heroes. Every hero is white. White, 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 white. All right? Every student in the classroom is white. White, 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 white. Me, black. All right? And now they get to the black history. The only piece of black history you got. One chapter, maybe not even a chapter, a paragraph, maybe. We're talking about slavery. And of course, like, the way they teach us slavery and the way they teach us that part of history is a hot ass mess if you do any real research. So basically, it gets a picture in your mind that all white people descended from slave owners, and all black people descended from slaves. And from those slaves, we were enslaved for hundreds of years, and before we were slaves, we were in Africa, and then they don't tell us nothing about Africa. Nothing really. And I remember distinctly, the only little piece of thing that they taught us was that people were, like, uncivilized and stuff like that, whatever. And we know now that that's absolutely a lie and not the truth, because we know. So that's what we were taught. It's in the 90s. In the 2000s, they're still probably being taught this foolishness in school, all right? Now, I just looked, because I was thinking about this, I had a question. And I think that the biggest thing when learning and growing and with history is asking the right questions. And I always used to ask questions, and even in church, I was just always this person where I would ask these bomb questions. And teachers and preachers and all kinds of people just could not answer my question. They're just like, we'll just do what it says. Like, but they're legitimate questions. I asked a question just now. How many white Southerners were slave owners? In the peak of slavery, less than 6% of all white people were slave owners. Less than 6%. And then add to that the fact that there was a law written that basically made it forbidden for blacks and Native Americans to own white slaves. They never told us that blacks and Native Americans ever owned slaves, right? So, like, these are the things that they don't tell you about. They tell you just enough for you to assume certain things. So if you were, the way we were taught, we would be walking around thinking that every white person from America who has ancestors in America beyond 1800s were all slave owners. All of them. And then also, all the black people were all slaves. Every single ant spread up on my every single black person was a slave, which is absolutely not the truth, right? So, and then a lot of the white people were just as poor and struggling as a lot of the black people because there were an elite. It's always been an elite. The elite have always wanted all the different races to be against each other. So the white privilege is not that they're just given things, which oftentimes actually they are as well, but the biggest thing is the subconscious programming that I am the owner and these are slaves. I come from ownership, you come from slavery, right? Even though you legitimately, like, I come from ownership. My mother is a business owner. My grandpa is a business owner. His father was a sharecropper, right? I literally come from a lineage of ownership. But, and if I don't do my own research on my history, my family lineage, my family specific, instead of like clumping every person that looks like me, every black person on earth that looks like me in one fell swoop, all slaves, all oppressed, all this, all that. The more you do history on black people, you realize that all this, you can't clump all black people together. You can't clump all white people together. You can't clump all Asians. You can't clump. And consciously we understand that, but subconsciously we still don't understand that. And so when people are like extremely angry with white people for white privilege, and I feel like if like white people, I think, need to understand this, and I think black people need to understand this, and if more black people understood that it's more so history, because guess what? Nobody cares if you don't know your history. If you don't take the time to learn your own history, nobody cares. Your boss is not gonna care. Your landlord's not gonna care. Nobody cares. You have to care enough about your own history to do some research, because the education system is not going to do it for you. If you sit up there and be upset about the education system for the rest of your life, then boo-hoo. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to care, okay? You have to care about yourself. You have to care about your people. You have to care about your family history. And for so many people, like, they don't care enough to actually do the research beyond Instagram, beyond memes, okay? Read a book yourself. Realize our fingers were chopped off for reading. Why was our fingers chopped off for reading? Because if we were to pick up a book, we might find out something that is the truth. Another reason why, like, it's just, I could go on. I could talk about this stuff for hours. But that's literally, I feel like that's what white privilege is. And I literally saw the dynamic, like kids that I was great friends with, chilling in elementary. When we get to junior high and they start to learn this history, right? And it's reinforced at the home, I'm sure. And like, then it went south. And I wasn't about to play. Like, and then the real hard part was the fact that my mom was teaching me, made it a point for me to learn history, made it a point for me to learn about our heroes, the heroes that look like me, about Malcolm X. Now, I always really resonated with Malcolm X. So my junior high self, reading books from Malcolm X, drawing Malcolm X on my folder. I never forget this. I drew Malcolm X on one side of my folder, and then I drew Martin Luther King on the other side. And my history teacher was like, oh yeah, Martin Luther King is such a hero. And then she saw the other side and she was like, well, Malcolm X, he's really a rebel and he's really not good. That's how they always have taught us. But I read for myself. I did my own research and nobody could tell me nothing. I agree with a lot of what Malcolm X says because he's a reader. Like, he really studied, right? And thought about solutions. Okay? Black Panthers, same thing. My uncle was a Black Panther and in New Orleans. But so yeah, the stuff that I'm telling y'all, I'm not just telling y'all stuff outside of my neck. Like, I've really been studying. I've really been doing a lot of research. I have a goal of traveling the country, North, Central, and South America. And I want to talk to people. I want to talk to real people that know real history, that have been doing real research. And I'm going to drop a vlog of when I went to Nevada and I was actually able to touch the petroglyphs, 4,000-year-old petroglyphs in Nevada, okay? And that'll make you question. Those rocks speak to you. Literally, I gotta tell you that story. But take the red pill also. Take the red pill. I've actually created a course for life design and to reprogram your subconscious mind, right? And I actually have a free sample of it. You get the whole first section. Great information. I recommend it because I've been developing this stuff and this knowledge for a long time. And I literally was led very quickly. I know when I'm led, I do things very quickly. And very quickly, I was able to get all that stuff out. So go to anokitheone.com/theredpill to take the red pill and get a free sample course. So I'll see you and subscribe. I'm out.